Cool. Actually, it's this one.
Oh yeah, put a USB stick from him in your machine.
Yeah.
I know him. Probably shouldn't worry me more, right?
Remember the key command at the end of this? Just.
But
No.
so you never have you ever done this in a while? You never bring your actual laptop to a security conference. And this is a throwaway VMware image. So when I get home, I just get the image. I don't care.
Cool. That's what they all say.
That's what you all said. Yeah.
I do have a slide on that actually, so we'll see when we pull it up. It'll be good. All right. Anyway, I'm Dave Aitel. In case you're curious how to pronounce my illegible last name, which was originally Polish by way of the island out in the water out here. Yes, I look Polish, right?
Fellow countryman.
Yes. I am the CTO of a company called Immunity. We do software security consulting. We write a product called Canvas, which is sort of for breaking into stuff. We do a bunch of other things. We have a debugger that's fairly popular now, oddly enough. All those things tie together in a way that's a little bit different from what most companies tie their tools together with. The talk today is on corruption, specifically memory corruption. It has a giraffe in it. I don't know if any of you saw the Daily Dave mailing list posting this morning, but I do run a mailing list that's fairly popular. It's the new bug track, shall we say, which is all about software security and all the exciting things we all get up to do today. And shortly, we will even see slides. That is what I hear. They're going to be awesome. I did the slides in OpenOffice too, so you can just imagine the quality of the drawings.
Keep talking. Told you I got a lot of stuff on here.
All right. While his antivirus operating system loads, essentially, the thesis of the talk is that I spend a lot of time chatting with my friend Halvar, and a lot of time talking to other people in the business who now are 30s or whatever, and they've been doing buffer overflows for some 15 years. And everyone's pretty much reached a certain conclusion, which is that eventually all of the buffer overflow work we've been doing is going to be too hard for amateurs to even begin to do. There's a certain level where you can't just pick this stuff up and actually use it. And the end result there, if you think of sort of the information warfare style of life, is that once it is too hard for amateurs to do, everyone's going to forget about it, the market's going to disappear, and everyone will actually be much more vulnerable to the professionals. So that's the thesis, and I'm going to go through the PDFs, and we will see if you agree at the end, or if you disagree, that's okay as well, and we can have a spirited discussion about what it means to be a professional, and we can get really pedantic about it. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. Now let's see it on this big one. Oh, look at that.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, page up and page down, right? Is that how this works? Excellent. All right, so essentially the it's good enough. All right, so essentially the unseen chaos will then ensue. Is that's my prediction. It's not necessarily something that's happened already, unless you have a great visibility into the problem and you think it already has happened. You feel free to share. So one of the common problems with the industry as a whole is that we are completely driven, both on a market and a science standpoint, with public knowledge, meaning things that are essentially free. If you cannot get the vulnerability on a website, it is not free. We're talking sort of free as in beer here, for those of you who are GNU zealots, possibly like myself. The picture, as you may notice, it's kind of a little bit dimmer here, is Andrew Cushman, who's put together probably the most sophisticated human intelligence operation on the planet for this sort of thing. And he's in charge. He was originally doing, when I met him, I did a gig with Microsoft as part of At Stake. And he was originally doing the IIS security management. And that was with the release of IS6. And now he's in charge of a bunch of security stuff at Microsoft. But you'll notice that everyone tends to focus on what is publicly known. right? You can debate a little bit around it, but the reality is you don't have so much excitement around advisories. I believe our dear friend Weld, well, he's not here, is he? But advisories, when you patched vulnerability windows, good old Arball with his vulnerability windows paper that everyone follows up on and makes up this gray risk, white risk, black risk. Have you seen this? No, you shouldn't see it. But nonetheless, it's essentially a giant waste of time. When people say patching is a security mechanism, what they say is, as long as I protect against stuff I know about, I'm OK. Which gets us back to our little head in the sand picture from earlier. And again, focusing on the response times to when a vendor can respond to a vulnerability, right? You see Microsoft and Mozilla banging each other about how fast they can patch stuff someone told them about, which is completely backwards. Because if you had to get told about it by some random 16-year-old in Estonia, then clearly your problems are a lot bigger than your time lag, right? So the issue here is not necessarily that these are bad things. The issue here is that these things are a symptom of the problem, which is that you're focused on public knowledge. And that's driving your market share. It's driving everything you have. And this is, you get things like IDSs and antivirus, right? Two of the least working program types ever made because of this. And essentially what you will then see is that vendors will feed into that because it kind of works for them. The idea that you only have to worry about what you know is a sort of theme that they're perfectly happy to have in your head. And we've all been, I'm a vendor as well. So we've all been problematic in this way. And probably one of the recent ones is you'll see like this SCADA company say things as neatly obvious as, no customer has reported a breach using this vulnerability. That doesn't speak at all to the problem. Because how the heck would the customer know, right? Not only wouldn't the customer know, but the customer doesn't know about the other 90,000 vulnerabilities in that product and every other product they're running that would have caused a breach. And you actually have this sort of written in stone. It's canonicalized. This is how people think about this stuff. And you'll see it because everyone in their advisories wants to put out, and this is just Microsoft, but we pick on them because we know they're big boys and can take it. They say, Microsoft received information about this vulnerability through responsible disclosure, and we have not received any information to indicate this vulnerability had been publicly disclosed. That's great. You didn't receive a report about it being publicly disclosed from the people who would not send you reports about it being publicly disclosed, right? And yet, oddly enough, year on year, if you go through all the Microsoft advisories and write a quick little Python script to download them all, 30% of the advisories don't have this in it, which means 30% of the bugs someone did use before this came out, which is a very odd number. And that you can do your own Python script and grep if you would like to make that number up as well. So I originally was going to have all this graphing stuff, but it turns out doing a graph in OpenOffice is awesomely fun. There's another one in it later. It only took me 4 hours. So this is what you end up with, right? People focus a lot on the people buying vulnerabilities, people selling vulnerabilities, kind of like, because it's understandable. It's like a credit card market, right? People are like, oh, I can understand that. I can understand when you buy apples. I understand this stuff because I go to Giant and I buy stuff. Or here it's, is it Publix in New York? I can't remember. Actually, it's nothing because it's just a green